Right. So now we're going to go into identifying needs. And remember, the needs are the motivation, the life energy in us that's seeking fulfillment at the time that we're having that moment, that triggered moment. There's physical needs, air, water, shelter, and food. There's personal needs, autonomy, expression, creativity. Interpersonal needs for community, belonging, connection. And we also have transcendent needs. So, so you're invited. So just like we did in the game that we played, comparing the strategies and the needs, and they give you about a minute to see if you can identify at least one need that was present for you during your triggered moment. Could be safety. It could be trust, cooperation, maybe connection, companionship. So I'll share a list of needs. Actually, let me post. I'll send you a list of needs in your chat window. So sending you a listing of feelings and needs in your chat. Should have received that. So raise your hand if you're having a hard time identifying your need. Laura Black, I see your hand went up. I can't hear you if you're speaking.
Yes, I'm having difficulty identifying my needs.
Okay. Can you describe, what's your observation? What happened?
So many years ago, I purchased 2 books, one for my mom and one for my dad, that said, "I'm dead, now what?" To put in there, you know, your wishes and the things that need to be done.
Yeah.
And they never filled them out. My dad died in July, and my now we're talking with my mom about what she wants when she dies. She has very specific things that she wants. And my husband asked her if she still had those books, and she got triggered and said, "I was so offended. I am so offended. That is so offensive that you did that. I can't believe you did that."
So can I connect with that? Because you already have like energy around that. So did you originally give that book to them because you're wanting more like connection with them, like to know more about their lives?
Yes, I suppose that might be why. Because I guess because I have a need to meet their needs. So I
you
guess
have a
that's
desire to contribute to them.
Right.
To
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so contribution. You're wanting to give them some life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So a beautiful need for contribution.
I got so triggered because partly my story, I don't know if I can share my story, but my story is that she's
so
just,
at least for now, because you'll be able to stay into the heart space. So let's just identify the needs. This is just a step right now. You identified 2 needs. One is contribution and one is connection. So stay with me. Stay with that energy. So Melissa and then James, I see your hands up. Go ahead, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. Is help a need? Is help a need?
Sure. Help, support.
Okay.
Yeah, some people call it support, but yeah, need a little help. Yeah. And James, go ahead.
So really quick, it was a very ordinary, just domestic thing, right? Like my wife and kids don't put the water bottle caps for our athletic water bottles with the bottles, so we often lose the caps, and then we have a useless bottle, and we have to buy more.
Yeah.
And
so
so
efficiency.
when I find them, the stories that were running in my head, they don't respect me. But then the more I read that, not that, they're stupid and inattentive.
All right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
They
thanks.
don't
That's
care.
good. Let's work with that. So
Yeah.
so I hear
So it's hard
several
to
needs
connect those
already.
to those needs. It's hard for me to connect those to
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah. So
needs.
let me see if this lands. So one of them is maybe cooperation. Is there is wishing that they would cooperate, and is there also like an efficiency thing? Hey, now I have to buy another one. So you want to use your resources efficiently?
You have to buy 4 more. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, how wasteful that is. So the need is for efficiency. So I would say use that one.
Okay.
Whatever has the most intensity. So just use that.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. I see Monica, that your hand's up.
So personal needs versus interpersonal needs. I mean, I guess the personal needs will be effectiveness, compliance. I need my staff to be compliant.
Effectiveness, sure. Cooperation.
Right.
Yeah.
But then what is the interpersonal needs? Isn't it the same?
So cooperation is an interpersonal need. Yeah.
And then what's the personal needs versus the interpersonal needs?
So maybe, I don't know, maybe you're wanting to be seen would be a personal need, wanting to be seen and heard. So let's just stay focused on your issue.
Okay.
It sounds like cooperation is your need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Laura, I see that your hand is up. Please unmute yourself. I can't hear you.
Thank you for reminding me. My question is, what happens when we identify our needs, but what do we do with that if the need is not never being met?
Okay. So you're trying to solve it. Yeah. So stay with me. Have you identified your need? Let's go ahead and use that right now. So we're gonna go into a little process. Okay. So do you have your need? What is it? What's your main need in this situation?
My need to be concerned.
To be considered, consideration maybe?
No, a concern. If I see that somebody is hurting him or herself and I'm concerned about their well-being.
Yeah, so I would say consideration for their well-being. Yeah.
Although it's
caring is another word. Someone else said that.
Okay, yeah, caring.
Yeah, so caring, so stick to that. Just keep it simple.
Okay.
All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do this process now. That I learned from Mary McKenzie, one of good friend and trainer. So rewrite your judgment, whatever judgment that you had previously, in the form of, I love it when, and then you insert the need that you just identified. So just create a sentence. I love it when my family cooperates in putting the caps on the bottles. I love it when we cooperate. So you're going to repeat that. So go ahead and actually just come up with a sentence right now. I love it when, and put in your primary need that we just discovered. And once we have our sentences, we're going to do a group process together. So I want to just make sure that you're able to create that sentence for yourself. I love it when. I love it when I see people caring for each other. I love it when our team is communicating clearly to each other so we can collaborate. I love it when there's great collaboration on the team. Or another one might be, I love it when people follow through with what they say they're going to do. I love it when people follow their agreements. So whatever that is for you, write that down on a short sentence. And raise your hand. I'm going to give you about a minute to do that, but raise your hand if you're having difficulty creating your I love it when statement. Julia, I see your hands up. Go ahead, Julia.
All right, you probably can't hear me very well. And there's
Yes, I can barely hear you, Julia. Could you speak up a little bit?
I'm yelling. It's
Okay, I
yelling.
can hear you. Go ahead, ask your question.
So I love it when my judgment was I felt judgmental and not caring about others. Let's say no. Okay, my judgment was they are entitled a-holes who don't care about following rules or possibly damaging other people's property.
Okay, so your need. So is there a need for community in there?
Respect.
Respect, so like mutual caring, perhaps? Yeah, so maybe I love it when people care for each other. They care for other people's property.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Julia. It's another advantage to having my headphones. I love it when I can hear people clearly. These headphones help. Thanks, Julia. All right, Laura, I see your hand is up. Are you having a hard
Yeah.
time formulating your I love it when question?
I'm having a little hard time with the word love.
Okay. You don't like the word love.
I love the word love. Is that I am from Argentina. We use the word love as something probably different than here, and I don't know if.
So what word works for you? If you don't like the word love, and you know, for me, the intention is I really enjoy when, so we could use that. I really enjoy it when, and use that phrase. Would that work for you?
I can try with the word like and enjoy and.
So why don't you try that? I want you to have an experience rather than going into your head.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and have a group experience.
Okay.
Right now.
Thank you.
All right. So now that everyone has their sentence, I want you to take your sentence and repeat it over and over in your mind for about a minute. I love it when people care for each other. I love it when people care for each other. And you're going to repeat that over and over in your mind. We'll do that for about 30 seconds. I love it when people love each other. I love it when there's mutual caring. So go ahead and do it. All right, that's about 30 seconds. I'd love to hear from a couple of people on how that was for you to repeat your I love it when statement. Please raise your digital hand. James, how was that for you?
It was good. I started realizing that I began thinking of all the ways, all the things I could do to foster that rather than criticizing the things that others had done to diminish it.
So as you're repeating, I love it when people cooperate and you had other thoughts.
Yeah, it was like, well, then how could I cooperate with them? How could I, like, it quickly became not about the fault that I had noticed and judged it, but like, yeah, well, what am I doing?
Yeah, so you got creative and like solutions materialize for you, like new things to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's the beauty of connecting with needs. Thanks, James. Roten, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Rotem. Close.
Rotem.
Yes. Thank you.
So
For
how
me,
was
it almost felt like a mantra, like I was willing this into existence, but I felt sad because my need isn't being met and I don't feel like I have control over it.
Yeah, yeah. So you noticed a couple things. Yeah. So one of them, what was the first thing that you experienced? When you
I
talked
just felt
about
like
the mantra?
I felt like I was trying to will it into existence, that
Okay.
that someone would treat me the way I wanted to be treated.
Yeah, yeah. And you noticed some sadness come up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rotem.
Thank you.
Jessica, I see that your hand's up. Please.
I think what it did for me was it helped me start to think about where in my personal history some of these needs originally came from, which made me kind of see it in a bigger context and want to maybe fix some of the personal stuff so that I kind of can deal with these needs in a different way with people in new situations.
So like James, as you connected with your "I love it when" statement, that your mind went into trying to solve it.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. So before solving it, did you have a body and an embodied experience? Did you feel anything as you were connecting with your "I love it when" statement?
Yeah, I felt like a sense of wholeness and peace and happiness that my need was being met for sure.
Okay. Or at least a potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a sense of peace and wholeness, even with the potential of your needs being met.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm so glad that we were able to go back from the thinking, the strategizing to solve it, to go back to that experience in the moment.
Yeah,
of
sure.
connecting to your needs. Thank you. Heather, would you how was it for you to repeat your "I love it" statement?
I had written down several "I love it" statements, and I had a lot of judgment associated with several of them, just of self, which was really interesting. But when I landed on the final statement that I had written, I felt like it incorporated my need as well as the people in the situation's need. And there was a lot of peace and hope associated with that.
Thank you. Thanks, Heather. Thanks for sharing that. And you noticed that eventually you were able to land on peace and hope. Yeah. I want to say, I see a couple of more hands up. And I do want to sort of bring this part of the workshop to a close in about 5 to 10 minutes, and also have time for a debrief. And I want to say that I love that people are showing up authentically here. And part of the practice that we're looking for is has been kind of laid out in the sequence, right? Is allowing ourselves to have the experience in the moment, right? So without judgment, hey, we're having this internal triggered experience, and we're noticing our stories and going and connecting to our needs. And what I'm loving is that even in this last exercise, that our minds are like almost tuned in to solve the problem. And there's a part that I want to invite is to stay connected to your needs longer than just going off and trying to solve the problem, with new strategies. So it's important to give yourself, even if your needs are not being met, to give yourself that opportunity to connect with that life energy in you that's seeking fulfillment. And one of the things that I want to highlight about needs is, again, they're independent of the strategy that we use to meet them. So part of the invitation of the I love it when statement is to help us to connect with the energy in us that's independent of the strategy that we're choosing to meet it. And so if we can have an embodied experience of connecting to our needs, there's more healing and freedom that comes from that. And kind of the whole purpose of the workshop and the series is to develop the skills so that we can regularly go outside of reactivity into choicefulness, right? So as we connect to our needs, we see that the universe is much more abundant than what our finite minds are trained to believe. Like, we have our preferences, and that's okay. It's okay to have preferences for strategies. And if you're able to connect with the needs that are behind that, then the world of abundance does open up. So that's sort of like one of the nuggets of this workshop, and that's also the point at which we can see that the trigger bullet really has some beauty behind it, right? So we started with a trigger that was creating some pain for us, and we went through some work in the middle to connect with our needs, and there's something beautiful. It's there, right? There's a need, there's maybe a longing for cooperation or concern around wanting to use our resources efficiently. So so part of the work is to uncover the gold, the beauty behind the trigger. And this last slide brings it into sort of like just summarizing where we've been. Oh yeah, and I was going to show a little bit more, but and so that's really the pitch for the 10-week series, is that we go through processes like this in the 10-week series, but there's a lot that is not that we didn't cover today because we didn't have that much time. And want to encourage you all to register. So Lindsay, I see your hands up. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I'm curious, once we identify the need, is that the work that we identified the need in itself, or are we to then identify the needs of the others in the group or in the conversation, or is it that you articulate the need?
Yes, great question. And let me just rephrase it, make sure I got it, is that so once we know the need, what do we do there? What's next?
Yeah, I decided that my need was effectiveness. And so I was frustrated. I was trying to help a family issue and I was getting pushback, and my need for being effective wasn't being fulfilled.
Yeah. So hearing that need for effectiveness. So actually there's lots of things that you can do after that are kind of beyond the scope of the workshop. But part of it, sometimes we have to mourn a little bit. Hey, I have this beautiful need for effectiveness, and hey, it's not happening right now. And so to allow yourself to mourn and feel whatever is coming up, don't skip over that. So actually allowing yourself to mourn and to feel those feelings, and eventually, as you stay connected to your needs, the energy often will shift. And some of you got curious. So some of us go through the stages so quickly, and we can't wait to get to solve the problem. So part of our practice in the 10-week series is we slow everything down, really, and we get clear with some of the stages that are important, so that we can eventually get to solving the problem, right? When we're connected to needs, if we get to the point to where we start to feel relaxation and like that our needs are, at least we're self-connected, then the world starts to open up and we start to see other strategies that are possible. And that's when the problem gets solved. Was that helpful, Lindsay? That was a lot of words. Looks like your video froze up.
Okay. Am I correct in saying that you said more that aren't getting met, that it's okay? You can find another way to solve your needs. You don't have to have your needs met in that conversation.
Yes. Some of your words were kind of garbled when they made it over here, so just want to call that out. But yes, the process that I'm inviting you to is of self-connection, and then once you're connected to your needs, what you're hoping is that other strategies will allow you to meet your needs. So that's eventually where you want to go. So I'm seeing that we're running out of time. Got about 10 minutes. I'd like to have a round of checkouts, and then I'll stick around for answering questions.